All right, all right, all right. We are live. We are live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey guys, this is Pat Miss Chapel, pandemic schooling. I hope everybody's doing well in these times. I see people watching. Do me a favor, tell me where you are watching from. We have an awesome broadcast today. We have beautiful, strong mothers working mothers. And so, one of your main questions you guys had was, okay, what about the mothers that cannot stay home? What about the mothers that have to work and go to school and take care of their kids at the same time? So I'm going to actually have the mothers introduce themselves. Please tell me, your name, how many children you have, and what you do. And that's pretty much it. So we'll start with Esther.
Hi, well, my name is Esther. I am a registered nurse and I have 5 adult children.
All right, 5 adult children.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a single mother of 5 adult children.
Yeah.
They're all out of the house.
Well, they're not the house.
Not really out the house, but,
but I'm not responsible. I'm not claiming responsibility.
All right. Go ahead. We'll have next Curtisa, you can go next.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Curtisa Vanderpool, and I am an area director for a nonprofit supporting schools. We support Title I schools, helping to bring resources, social service resources to students and their families. And I am a working mom. I am the mother of one amazing son. Maybe you count my dog. He's a 4-legged son that is always into everything. But our son is in 9th grade this year.
Freshman. No, not like a bad thing. Like, I'm like, oh man, I remember that little boy. I'm so proud of him.
Me. It's like, it's killing me.
All right. Martine, I don't know what happened to my name tags. Usually they're name tags, but go ahead, Martine.
Sorry. I'm Martine, PA. I am a mother of 2. And I work for Advent Health Orlando in the care management department. I'm the assistant to the director of care management, and care management's a department that coordinates all of the discharge planning for patients as they exit the hospital. And so we've been very busy during this time.
I'm sure. Okay, all right. Well, thank you all for joining. Thank you, Robin, for joining from GA. So we have people watching from Georgia. Of course, Sister Dimitri. How are you doing, Sister Dimitri? Dimitri, she has something to say as well. You know, she's a mother of a young daughter, and she was talking about you, Maya. You have to talk about grandparents too. You know, it's hard for grandparents or people who are older getting used to this virtual schooling stuff. Yeah, so that was a good point. So we're going to talk about how are you guys dealing. So my first question to you is, and anybody can jump in first, what do you think your greatest challenge is as a working mother, as a single mother? What was your greatest challenge when your children were of age?
Well, I'll go.
Yeah, go ahead.
One of my greatest challenges, I had 5 children with 5 different personalities, 5 different ways of learning, 5 ways to understand, 5 different ways you have to. It's just a matter of learning how to put it together. And there was no rule book, nothing that says this is how you do it and this is what you're going to get. This is not the result. This is the result you're going to get if you do this. You literally have to go child by child, and as they grow and learn who they are, then you got to change and adapt. So being able to adapt to 5 children and having 5 teenagers in the house at the same time, that was my biggest challenge. Whew.
And you were doing that a lot of the times on your own.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you had support, you know, I'm sure a little bit of support, but that can you 5 boys and girls?
3 boys, 2 girls.
Ooh, multiple personalities, multiple
Ooh.
gender. Like, Lord. All right, Martine, what about you? Like, what was your greatest challenge? What was your greatest challenge? Hey, Sister Carter, what's going on? Yeah, go ahead.
I think my greatest challenge was energy, because I had toddlers and they're 2 years apart, but it felt like they're twins. So I needed double the amount of, energy to keep them, going, and just, I guess what they call it, you have to keep them active and engaged, and, making sure they're hitting all those milestones, and you're still working, and school. And that was one thing. My biggest challenge is probably in school myself, because I wanted to pursue higher learning. But I was like, I'm not doing it while my kids are also in school. So I had a goal to set out to finish my learning, my education, before my little ones started their structured educations.
There goes one of them.
Yeah, there's Michael, my little guy.
Hey, Michael.
he's like, yes, always. They're always around.
Listen. I remember when I did an interview for one of my friends who's a dentist, and she had children Michael's age, and they just came. That's what it is. That's what you get when you have working mothers of young children. It's expected.
Yeah, always there. Yeah, I tell people, I'm like, look, it's a package deal here. If you see me, you're probably gonna see him too. Yeah, it's just learning how to just be, move as one body, one unit all the time. Always having to plan for that, and because I really didn't like the idea of always putting them in childcare or babysitter outside of the time that they already were spending there while I'm at work. I think that's probably the toughest part. So I didn't use a babysitter for the first time until, and this is like outside of work hours, until like 6 months ago.
And how old is your youngest child?
3.
Okay. Yeah. So you were saying, okay, you had a plan. It's pretty tough because you're like, okay, I want to make sure I'm supporting myself at work. I'm going to school. I don't want to do this before they get to the age of school age. And you did it. You're graduating next week with a master's in health administration.
Yes, my virtual graduation day is the same day my daughter starts kindergarten.
Wow, look at that vision.
Oh.
Look at that vision. You said I did. Wow, that's awesome, Martine.
Yeah.
All right. Curtisa, go ahead. Tell me about yourself. Like, what is and was your greatest? What's your what did I say? Not struggles, but what was the word I said? Challenges.
Yeah. I mean, quite honestly, for me, it was just having that super mom guilt, because I wanted to be this amazing mother. I wanted to cook. I wanted to bake every day. I wanted to be at all of his events at school. I wanted to be the mom that brought home baked goods, and I was the classroom mom. I wanted to be all of that, but I wasn't able to because I was working, and I was at the time I was also a teacher. So I had the guilt of I'm caring for 150 kids in my science classes every day. But then when I come home, and I have all the energy that I want to have for my son and be able to be involved in his, education. So I had a lot of that guilt because my husband's schedule was more flexible. So he was the classroom dad, in school with Malik. With all the other moms, he was the only guy that would be there, and he was, the classroom dad, and got to, really do all those little things that I wanted to do. But I knew that we're a team, and as long as someone was there and supporting him, with field trips and doing things, we're both there supporting him. So, I mean, even though he's in 9th grade now, I still battle with the guilt. But I have to tell myself I am a good mom, and just because I have to work, it doesn't mean that I don't care, and I'm not, because I can't go to everything. It doesn't mean that I don't care. I try to be as present as I possibly can.
Shout out to all the working mothers. Like, my mom was a single mother and a working mother, and I turned out okay, mommy. So you guys gotta, and my mother, like, she literally birthed me. And within 3 months, she was back at work. Like, she was a literal, like, she was working, yeah, I was in a babysitter from 3 months, and my grandmother, they were living with my grandmother, and my grandmother was working as a nurse too. So like this just, and I feel that, some parents have that guilt, and
Yeah.
some parents guilt other parents, but like everybody makes decisions and for the betterment of the family. Shout out to the fathers though. Shout out to Jason. He picked up the slack. Unfortunately, some parents don't have that opportunity, but Jason was there. We're gonna actually shout out to the fathers next week. Next week we're gonna have a bunch of men, fathers, the crescendo of pandemic schooling. We're gonna talk about good dads. So that was a good segue. All right. So my next question is, how did or do you cope with being a working mother? How do you cope with being a working mother?
I mean, for me, I say a lot of timeouts, and not timeouts for my son, but timeout for me. Because, again, that super mom guilt, I can't do everything. So if I'm not healthy and whole, then I can't be healthy and whole for my son or for my husband. So I literally take time out. Self-care is like super high on my list. Like I have to make sure, I'm exercising. I try to eat healthy. I try to do things that will refresh me because I'm pretty self-aware. Like I know that I'm an introvert, so my energy is exhausted at work because I do a lot of meetings. I'm on a lot of Zooms. I'm talking all day. So for me, my energy is depleted by the time, I'm home. So I have to take daily a time out where it's just time with just me so I can rejuvenate, and then I'm good for my family. And they know, even the dog, he knows, like, oh,
Time out.
she's on a timeout so she can be better for everyone. And, when I started to do that more, I noticed that everyone in the house was happier because I didn't carry all the stress and anxiety that I would have carried if I didn't have my little timeout.
So special timeouts. I love that. That's just necessary, and the family will understand. The children will understand. Okay, that's good. What about you guys? What about you, Esther or Martine?
Tell me the question again.
How did you cope with being a working mother? Like, how did you cope with that? What things did you do to manage?
When I became a single mother, everything changed. So I always had help before. And then right in the middle of it, I think the youngest one was about 6 when I became a single mother. And I stayed busy, which isn't healthy. And I know that now, but I stayed busy. I tried to be there, like Protessa talked about, being super mom. I did that super mom role for years. I had to cook. I find a job that will work around my schedule so I can go to the school when I needed to. And then I had to come home. I had to make sure I cook because there's 5 of them. We can't do McDonald's every day. And all the different things that I had to do, it wears you out because when something goes wrong, you tend to blame yourself. So unfortunately, I did that for the long period of time until my youngest one was in her last year of school. And I was like, wait a minute, you are absolutely crazy. And then I started to look at me and I said, I'm not healthy. I'm not doing the things I should be doing. I'm probably not mentally healthy. What good am I to my kids? Because I have run myself all the way down to 0. And so I had to stop. And like Curtisa said, you have to make time for yourself. Whether it's 10 minutes, for me, sometimes it was coming home and staying in the car for about an hour to 2 hours, just sitting in the car. Like the kids come outside, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, just leave me alone. Leave me alone. I'm in the car. The car was my haven for a while. And as time goes on, now that they're grown, I'm going to enjoy myself.
You deserve it. You deserve it.
But
you deserve it, Esther.
It was just keep busy. I just kept busy. It's not healthy. I won't tell anybody do it. Don't do it. Always take time for yourself, but that's how I cope. Because if I stopped to think about the problems I was having, I would not function. I kept going. I went. I just took off.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
some people get their energy by keeping busy. Some people get their energy by going away, and then there's a mix of both. But I appreciate you sharing that. What about you, Martine? Like, what did you do to cope? What are you doing to cope? You're in the beginning stages.
Yeah. I was like, I'm not too far in. So every day it feels like I'm figuring out something new, something different, and it's constantly changing. And then when I do find something that really works, they change because they're at that point where they're in. It's like, I think the transitions, I don't know if it's going to get worse or what happens, but the transitions feel like they're a lot sooner in between than, other things. So when I was like, oh, like I can get down pat where the baby napping and all that kind of stuff. And then before I know it, they're walking, So now it's like what I used to be able to do in that period of time, I can no longer do it because as soon as they wake up, they're roaming again, and then baby proofing and all those things. But I think what really helped me was just trying to think of the areas of super mom I wanted to be in, like I wanted to be, as opposed to trying to tackle every area of super mom. I can guarantee you, like, there's some things where I'll tell you that is not where I'm like my A game. Those are things I let, like kind of just go as they happen as they go, because it's impossible to be 100% in everything. But the things that do really matter to me and the future that I want for my kids, I do focus on, and I try to be in those things. And I think that that's probably where I find most of my success, where I can say, yeah, my kids may have eaten chicken nuggets 3 nights in a row, but they can tell you how to like change a battery. So, like it's kind of like way, like you have to just kind of go at things, how they come and where you decide to really focus on what you want to, where you want to be or how you want to be that super mom more so.
Yeah. Okay, I love that. Choose one. Like, so this concept of you can be everything, you can be this, it's just not the case. You can do everything, just not at the same time. I heard that from one, just not at the same time. And you just choose what your gift is and just focus on that. Sister Taylor says that her safe space is the bathroom. I've heard that.
Not mine yet. I wish.
The bathroom and they cry, they pray, they sing.
And I wish I knew that and realized that earlier, Martine, because I did run myself down because I tried to be, super mom in every area. And, you're right. Like, I would always compare myself to my mother-in-law because she's a nurse, and my husband was like, with his accent, my mom would work 12 hours and come home and cook a full meal and take us to school.
These doggone Trinidadians, these doggone West Indian men.
And I said, wait a minute, that's not me. And I had to be okay with that. Like, like you, I may not cook. They make it a meal on Sabbath, but they know how to their stuff here.
Right.
Strength is organization and creating systems. So I'm gonna have everything in a system. It's gonna be organized. You're gonna know where it is. Now I may not cook that night, but where the meal for Monday night is, and you guys can. So I had to get comfortable, with that, and not try to like live in someone else's shadow or try to be the mom that someone else is. I just need to be the best mom that Curtisa can be, So I wish I would have known that earlier, Martine.
Man, I was like, it hit me when they came out. I'm like, these are extensions of us. So I know they'll have their own personalities, but the likelihood that they're going to like the same things that you do in the beginning, at least, are high. So why try to be everything that I don't even know what, anything about? Like, how about we just all go and do the things that, I know. And if you show me something different, we'll go along with it then.
You'll transition. Yeah.
I like to play outside. Y'all want to go play outside? Yeah. I like it. Let's go.
Yeah, they should bring it to the volleyball court. That's for sure. All right. Next question. How do you manage, or did you manage your children's education? How did you manage it, especially as a working mom?
Yeah. I mean, I'll go first because it's gonna be quick.
Right.
We haven't started too much yet. But in the beginning years, there wasn't a lot of textbook structured learning. So I just did it by experience, and exposure. I liked taking them out to do different things, creating things at home, showing them the art, showing them sciences, different things that they just probably wouldn't get right then and there, and they don't have to necessarily wait to get it from a textbook. So I don't know, I guess because I'm probably a little bit of a nerd, but any little thing that we wanted to do, we would just start it at home. So I would show them, like right now, one of our hobbies is Power Wheels. So it's dealing with batteries and things like that. So I'm showing them how the electrical, charges work, how batteries work, how we can add power to something, and what does positive and negative mean, things like that. And it just kind of goes a step beyond, we're just driving behind a car, like we're having fun with a toy. We used to do art, I'd get the easels, let them paint, and show the colors and things like that, exploring and doing a lot of explaining to them, not talking to them like they're children. But I actually don't believe in baby talk. I talk to them, I talk to them like they're an adult. And there's a difference between, I don't talk to them about adult subjects, but I do talk to them, in adult, like complete words and sentences, things like that, expression. And so I think that really helped to shape like what they're going to be doing education wise. And I mean, according to the VPK test, Mia scored really great. So I guess I did something right.
All right. So you basically incorporate experiences with their learning, and you just have them with you like all the time.
Right. Yeah.
Wow. Esther, well, how did you manage their education?
Oh, earlier it was easier, of course. And that was when I was in St. Croix with my mom. And, so everybody put in their little bit to help. One day when I became a single mom, that's where the difficulty came in, because everybody has a different way of learning. And understanding. So for instance, I had one of my sons that was having a hard time in school. I couldn't do it because I didn't know how to get him to get it. And he learned different from how I did. So I couldn't show him. I can see something and know what it is. He had to work it out. And so one of the teachers decided, I'm going to take the time to sit down and teach your child. But that was because I was very involved in the school. So they took a lot of extra time with my children, because they think that I was willing to be there. It wasn't until high school I started to be a little hands off, so they can learn that they need to be a little bit more independent without me being there all the time to keep showing you got to do this. Now you have to learn on your own. And the high schools weren't letting me come around anyway. When they went to school, they're like, okay, drop them off and you can leave. You need to go. That was hard for me because I was always like this. So they had to learn in high school. They had 4 years of how to learn how to get where they needed to go to. I had one child that was similar to me, and that was the last one. So when she decided, she came to me and she said, I want to do dual enrollment. I'm like, huh? What? And mind you, this just started because she was bullied in school in 8th grade, 7th and 8th grade, really bad. And I told her, you need to take that negative side and turn it positive. And she really did. She listened to me. And she went and she got herself enrolled. I said, I'll come and do whatever you want me to do. I'm going to back you up. You lead and I will follow. And when I did that, that kid, that's that little Ariana that you see all over the place bouncing and whatever else she does. I wish I knew that to try that with all of my children. I only caught it with her. So right now I'm trying to do it with the bigger ones, but they're adults. They make the rules. And like I said, I'm here for support. I'll follow where you want me to go. And that's what I'm doing. But that was basically it. I started off, I showed them what I could, what I knew. And to the end, I kind of told them, now it's your turn. Now I follow you.
And I will support you.
I support you.
Yeah.
I back you up, but you have to lead because I need to know where you're going. I don't want to put me on you. Otherwise, I have 5 nurses.
Right. But at the same time that you were very hands-on in their education, and that's very important. I don't know why the high schools push you away. I feel like these high schools need to get more parent involvement in their children because there's so much risky behavior that they do at this age. When the parents let off, that's when they start taking out drugs and illicit sex and speeding. That's another story. Curtisa, tell me how are you managing? I know Malik's education.
Lots of, I mean, it's been, and the funny thing about it, I was a teacher for years, but so afraid to teach my own child. I was like, oh my gosh, I could never do homeschooling. What would I do? Like, where would I start? Like, oh, I could do, so just the worst fears. But because education is very important to both myself and my husband, we model. So we do a lot. And we want him to know that reading is a part of who we are. So, he doesn't love reading yet, but we're hoping that he'll start to love it. He reads, but he doesn't love it. But he's always been very, very involved with his academics, with, from the beginning, knowing who his teachers are, knowing all of his classes, knowing his school. His teachers had both my husband and I on speed dial. If ever needed, and through email. So if they emailed me, I would immediately respond. So we would just keep on top of things that. So and to poor, I have to say poor Malik, because we worked in the school system for so many years. Whatever school he attended, we knew individuals. If we didn't know the principal, we knew the assistant principal, we knew the deans. So he's like, oh my gosh, I can't go anywhere because you guys know everyone. So he never had like, behavioral issues because he knew it was just a phone call. So that's what like really kept him in line. And then he's a pretty good kid as well. So just really like knowing the structure. And then we had to be present, just to be transparent. He's gone to predominantly white schools. So when in those types of schools, when they see a little African-American boy, they already label them to think that, oh, his parents don't care, or, oh, we can tell him or do anything with him. So we were very present from the beginning, and the teachers always knew us. We were very like involved in that way, so they wouldn't like take advantage of him, nor would like administrators. So this was really keen on that because he's an African American boy.
That's there he goes in the background with his hoodie. Shout out to Malik back there. Seriously though, that is so important. I hope you guys are hearing this. You have to be present even though you are working, and you can be. You're just a phone call away, right? I'm just gonna mute you guys. You let the parents. The teachers know. You let the teachers know that, listen, I'm here. Call me. I will basically handle any situation. If they start seeing parental involvement, they'll know how to treat your kid. Matter of fact.
Exactly.
So
exactly. You have to be that advocate, because I've seen, so many kids that they did not have those parents advocating for them, and they got lost in the system. They didn't have someone to help them to navigate. And they were taken advantage of, unfortunately. So it was always very important for us to be that advocate until we could show him how to advocate for himself. So he started to start advocating for himself probably about 7th grade, so we just helped to continue to mold that. So yeah, very important to be that advocate for your children.
Listen, if you're working, if you're home, be an advocate for your children. That's so crucial. And even Ariana, when she said I wanted to do dual enrollment, I'm sure Esther had to go to the school and tell the advisor what my children want. So what classes does she need to take so that she could be in? And some guys, you got to start doing that from their freshman year, because some schools won't let the children do dual enrollment if they hadn't taken certain classes in their freshman and sophomore year. But because Esther was involved, and she asked questions. She was supporting, you know what I'm saying? So I can see Curtisa doing the same thing for her son. When the babies get old enough, I can see Martine doing it. You know, she listen, it's very important that you be an advocate. So whether you're working or not, it's possible. Okay. All right. Let's see. Guys, make sure you have questions. If you have any questions, please let me know. It's your last opportunity to ask questions. A lot of you had questions about or wish that you had working mothers. Here they are. All right. Last question. What advice would you give to the working moms out there trying to educate their children in these tough times? So specifically these pandemic times. Like what advice would you give to them with this virtual learning and all that stuff? Like, is Malik doing virtual learning or he's over at the school? He's virtual?
He is at home doing virtual learning.
So like what so you're in the midst of it. What are you doing to handle it? Are you home too? Are you going to work? What's up?
I'm in and out. So I work from home, and then I do have to go into the school some days. So Jason and I kind of vary our schedule. So I mean, I like it because we get to eat breakfast together now, and you know, he tries to get me to make lunch, but I'm in meetings, so I don't can't make lunch. But you know, I do get to see him more, and you know, just kind of see how he's maturing and be able to navigate those things with him real time versus, you know, having those conversations in the evening when he comes home from school and we're kind of, you know, advising. But the advice that I would give is like, be kind to yourself because this is unprecedented times for everyone. And whatever decision you and your family have made, whether it's homeschooling, whether it's going brick and mortar with your child, being in the school face to face, or whether it's launch ed with your child going to school online, that is okay. That is a decision that you guys have made, and don't allow anyone to make you feel like your decision is bad. So yeah, give yourself some grace, and then know that you're not alone. There are lots of parents out there that are in a similar situation to you. Whatever situation you're in, there is a parent that is out there in that situation as well. And then know that there are resources for you. So the organization that I work for, we have a free counseling helpline for free. So anytime you're experiencing some stress or anxiety or anything, like we have a 1-800 number that is just free to everyone to call and just get some relief from what you're going through. Having someone there to listen, not worried about, oh my gosh, I can't afford it, or how much does this cost? No, absolutely free. So look, you know, being aware of resources like that are out to assist families right now, especially during this time, is pretty critical.
Sounds good. That sounds good. What about you guys? Martine, you want to go next? I'll unmute you. Yeah, go ahead.
I would say my sorry, I apologize. My 3-year-old.
It's all good. It's all good.
He's all mommy. I thought I lost him. I don't know. I think during this pandemic, especially because I work in the hospital, so I haven't really to us, it just hasn't really felt like our life has changed much as far as schedules go. Because there was no time where I was home or working from home, or, you know, like literally I'm on my first vacation all year. Like, so this is my first time, my second time being at home. I did get sick and we were at home then, but other than that, but I didn't really shy away from explaining what's going on, especially to my daughter, who, you know, I haven't really talked baby talk to her. So I was able to use those big terms with her and break them down, and using today's life experiences, today's, you know, the things that we're going through right now as opportunities for learning new things, like introducing the body to her. Like, hey, a lot of people are having a hard time breathing with this disease. Do you know where we breathe, how we breathe, you know, things like that. And it turned into this whole lesson on our, you know, respiratory system and the lungs and things like that. And so I really feel like using these opportunities to educate or find ways to enhance their learning by real life situations could, bring something to the lessons that they're learning in school and the textbook, just kind of bring them to a place where they can apply it more, as opposed to just being behind the books, especially now with a lot of the learning being on a computer base. It's going to take a lot of parents bridging that gap between, what the child got to experience in the school setting and what they're now experiencing only behind a computer, and not shying away too much, because now literally the only tangible person they have is you as the parent. That's it. They're not going to have their other children where they're learning from, experiencing social things. They're not going to have like those field trip moments where, they get to learn about things and how they work. And if they were learning about them in the classroom, like those are things that I think as parents who really want to make sure that your child's education isn't lessened or anything, by this experience. We really have to step up and make sure that we're creating all of those other experiences for them that they're not going to get in the school setting, because as much as a lot of people, fought for it to be different, it's not, and it's not changing anytime soon. So I really feel like those who do have the opportunity, take them outside. If they're learning about the plants, make sure they're going to plant one in the backyard. Things like that, to make sure that you are still getting that added piece to what they would have been doing in school. And then also I think that when they are not like shied away or kept away from what the reality is of the situation, it's going to also help them to advocate for themselves. I think having children advocate for themselves is something that has to become our new normal. I think one of the biggest concerns, especially for my children, which will be in school because they've been in daycare this entire time anyways, just making them aware of the importance of hygiene and how germs are spreading, making sure that they're aware that, hey, a sneeze can really, really affect somebody really hard. And this is how. That way you won't have to worry so much like, oh, my kid's probably going to take this mask off. If they know what's going to happen if they take the mask off, maybe they'll have more of an understanding of, how things are going. So I really think that that is something that they should know. Like your kids should be able to explain coronavirus just like you should right about now.
Wow. That's deep right there. And what I'm hearing from both of you so far, we get to you, Esther, is that if you ever needed to be present before, you need to be present now. You need to be present. Like, and some of you have the opportunity because you're working from home, like Tisa, like where she's actually loving it because she's actually present, versus at night. Like that's one of the things, we learned this a couple of years ago that like 80% of your children's time used to be taken up by their teacher. Mm-hmm. But now it's you, and so with that knowledge, it's very important that you take this opportunity to be present with them. That's what I'm hearing. Esther, tell me what advice would you give the parents?
Time management. One of the things that I learned earlier in life, and it had nothing to do with raising children, it was with work. When I was in the hospital, was learning time management. How do I manage taking care of all of my patients and meeting all of their needs and making sure everything was done in my 12-hour shift? Because the next shift comes on, they don't want my work to do. And it was a lot of work. So I had somebody pull me to the side and said, let me tell you something. That's how she started the conversation. And I learned time management then. Then when I went to do my RN, because I did it, I went through my breakup while I was in nursing school. So I had the 5 kids in school. I had my mom, she was just freshly diagnosed with cancer and she came to live with me. I was in school full time and I was working full time. Wow. And when I tell you, when you have to sit down and put on paper, literally, wake up 6:30, brush your teeth 6:45, say your prayer. You literally have to put every minute of the day on a paper. And I found out I had so much time. That was the crazy part. I found out I had so much time. So I was able to do a lot of things in that small period of time. And the only day off I had was Sabbath. Yes. Yes, it looked like that. It looked literally like that. And I was trying to find my paper that I have with one that I pull off a whole lot of it. Put it on, put whatever you have to do, however you want to do it. I feel, and this is just my personal thing, all kids are not the same. And if your family doesn't work well with sitting down in front of the computer, look it up in sections. But make sure you put it, stick to your little time frame that you have. Because once you get off of that, and if you can't see how to make it flow in a day, it won't work. So time management to me is huge. And that's the only ways you're actually going to manage doing what the teacher did. And especially if you're working from home. I work from home a lot. When I realized I really need to be with my kids, I got jobs where I can work from home most of the time. And management is serious because they want your time, especially in the summer. If they see you, they want your time. But you have to give these people, you have to give the man his 8 hours. So time management to me, man, put that stuff on paper and go by that. It'll come like nothing after a while, but that's my piece for that.
It seems like you guys are really flexible, based on your own personal lives. You know what you need to do, and if you have to change jobs, you have to change jobs. If you have to send them to daycare, send them to daycare. If you have to marry a man that's willing to be all, the school guy dad, then that's good, right? So like everybody, you're working what you have. Yeah. And so I feel like to the working mothers out there, to the single mothers out there, we love you so much. We pray for you. Mm-hmm. And we know that God can help you just move through the process of what you have. And that's all you can, that's literally all you can do. Angela Anderson says, Esther is my Shiro.
Esther, you got the trophy. You got it.
I know about all of that now, but it takes a village, people, and that's one of the things that I miss going through this right now. It takes a village. You're gonna need all the help. And my thing right now that my kids are grown, I want to help. I don't know where I need to start, but I don't think there's a single parent that should be alone in this journey ever. She should not ever be alone. Somebody should be knocking on her door. And I think that's one of the downfalls that we have is that our single parents go through it thinking, I got to do this on my own. And you should never, especially if you belong to a body of anything, you should never have to do it on your own. We need to come together and get them because the kids suffer. I mean, the parents do suffer, but the kids suffer the most. And these are the same people that's going to be our doctors and our lawyers. Could you imagine some of the doctors that don't have any bedside manners? Where did they come from? But if we can pull together and help everybody, especially these single parents and these kids, and if they have multiples, please give them an extra hand. They're going to need it because it's tough. It is very tough.
Yeah. That's a word right there. And that's why it was very important for me to do this presentation today. It's like, we got to talk about the mothers who just don't have a husband to help on the side, or working mothers that aren't able to stay home. Mm-hmm. We know that you're out there, and we're praying for you, and I don't know how I could help, but reach out. And somehow we will see. But to your point, Esther, it's very important. The hard part is that we're just not together in the body right now. Mm-hmm. I hope that we can really. I'm glad that we're doing these group settings where we're the members. Just shout out to Patmos Chapel. These are all members of Patmos Chapel. Just to let you know, and so we can get the members out. So I really appreciate you guys for willing to come on TV, social media, so that we can know, what's going on. Reach out to the elders, reach out to, administration, reach out to the pastors. If you need help, just to let you know, I really need to know all of you parents, your children, everybody who's in school, please. the best way you can reach out is go on to patmoschapel.org and fill out the student information form. Oh, there goes a doggy. Fill out the student information form. This is not just for Adventist children. This is for all children of Patmos Chapel. I need to know where they are going to school. This is from pre-K all the way to 12th grade. Please fill out that form so I can know where your children are. We got one more pandemic schooling. One more. Nobody asked any questions. Like everybody was just listening and just applauding you. I mean, that's what they were basically doing, like listening and applauding. So yeah, this is your opportunity to ask questions. If you don't, we're just gonna leave. It's been a good 45 or so minutes. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, ladies. Esther, Martine, Curtisa. Thank you so much for coming on and helping out the working mothers. We really appreciate you. You guys have a good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.